Father, forgive me, it's been a while. I lit the hallway lamp and tried to smile. He came in late past 11:30, smelling like a bar I've never been in. I said the food was cold, he said he'd eaten. I watched his hands, they had a careful stillness, like a man arranging what he's not revealing. The kettle on, the radiator ticking. I found a receipt under the passenger seat. Wine bar on Deansgate, a Tuesday in the week. 2 glasses listed, an appetizer plate. I put it back exactly where it lay. I told myself the city's full of wine bars that meant of colleagues' meals, legitimate reasons. I dried the dishes, checked on our daughter sleeping, and prayed the ache I felt was just the season. But something in the body knows before the mind can sense. A cold that isn't temperature, a door that isn't shut. I stood beside our bed and watched him breathe, and felt like I was visiting a house I used to keep. Father, I have something I need to tell, a story with no clean side truth, with a broken shell. I sat across the table from the man I chose, and smiled and passed the salt, and watched it all erode. Father, I have something I need to say. I didn't know that quiet could hurt this way. October bled to November, gray and cold. The terrace house felt smaller, we felt old. He bought new cologne, I didn't ask the name. It sat behind the cabinet like a claim. I made the lunches, did the school run Friday. I went to yoga Tuesday, smiled at Rachel. I was performing normalcy so precisely. I started to believe I might be fine. There is a specific loneliness in lying next to someone, not the loneliness of empty rooms or silent phones, but the kind where arms are there, warmth is there, and still you are completely, perfectly alone. I counted ceiling tiles on Thursday nights. I memorized the pattern of the curtain. I thought if I am wrong, I will feel foolish. I thought, and if I'm right, what happens then? I didn't check his phone. I want you to know that, Father, I didn't go through pockets, didn't follow. I only watched the texture of our evenings, the way a conversation can go shallow. The pause before he answered when I asked him how his day had gone. Who had he seen? A fraction of a second, nothing provable, just base enough to slip a secret in between. Father, I have something I need to tell, a story that was building like a slow and quiet swell. I sat across the table from the man I chose, and smiled and passed the salt, and watched it all erode. Father, I have something I need to say. I only knew the half of it that day. The receipt is still under the seat. I leave it there like evidence of something. Thursday comes again, the past is cold again, and I am waiting for the thing I'm frightened of to break. Father, the name came up on a Sunday afternoon. His phone face up on the coffee table in the sitting room. Claire with a question mark, and then 3 words I won't repeat. He reached across and flipped it over, casual, discreet. And I kept reading my book, I kept my breathing even I had become so fluent in the language of not asking. Our daughter was upstairs with her drawing and her music, and I sat with what I knew and went on with the masking. Then there was the parking charge. It came through on the app, a postcode in Salford. On the night he said he had a late one and the office deadline, couldn't call. I pulled it up and stared at it and felt nothing at all. Not rage, not tears, a kind of airless comprehension. The way you finally see the shape of something you've been fearing. I paid it from the joint account. I didn't say a word. I cooked the dinner, set the table, kept the children from hearing. This is what they don't tell you about betrayal. It doesn't come in fire, it comes in Tuesday post, a parking app, a notification, the name on a screen, and you were standing in your kitchen holding the most. Father, I have something I need to tell, a story with no clean side truth, with a broken shell. I sat across the table from the man I chose and smiled and passed the salt and watched it all erode. Father, I have something I need to say. Claire is just a name, but names get in the way. I went to Rachel's on a wet Thursday in December. She poured the Shiraz, didn't ask the way good friends remember. She had a friend there, someone new. She introduced us briefly, a quiet man, unhurried, who listened to me speak. I talked about the weather, about Maisie school production, about nothing that was bleeding, kept it light and clean and safe. But somewhere in the second glass he asked me how I really was, and I couldn't find the performance that I'd scheduled for my face. There's a particular moment when the armor fails without warning, not theatrical, no crumbling, just a single honest breath. He passed the bowl of olives and he didn't look away, and something in me registered the warmth of being met. I drove home through the rain, I got the check and text from Daniel running late. Don't wait up, have you eaten, how's the kid? I typed back, fine, all fine, she's fine, I ate, I'm fine. And every word I sent was true, and every word was hid. Father, I'm not telling you about Marcus yet. I'm telling you about the moment before the moment, about a woman carrying an entire architecture of grief and meeting kindness and not knowing how to own it. I drove past our street and sat a minute in the car. The downstairs light was on, the terrace looked like always a postcard of a life that had been quietly hollowed. I turned the key and walked inside, counted down the hallways. Father, I have something I need to tell, a story that gets heavier before it rings the bell. I sat across the table from the man I chose and smiled and passed the salt, suspecting what he knows. Father, I have something I need to say, but I am not quite ready for the light of day. Claire with a question mark, 3 words I won't repeat. A parking charge in Salford and the rain on Birchvale Street. Something is gathering, I feel it in my sleep. Father, it was a Sunday, early February. Maisie was at her grand's. The house was very quiet. I'd found the email Thursday night I'd found it. I'd held it for 3 days before I let it riot. A hotel booking, 2 nights, a room in York, forwarded from his work account to a Gmail. I'd printed it. I don't know why I printed it. Maybe I needed something I could hold and make real. I placed it on the table with his morning coffee. I didn't say a word, I let him find it sitting. He picked it up, he set it down, he looked at me directly, and everything I'd feared arranged itself in fitting. He said her name, he said it like an apology. He said it had been going on since August, it was over. He said he didn't know what he was doing or who he was. I watched the kettle steam and felt remarkably sober. There was no screaming, Father, I want you to know. No plates against the wall, no operatic grief. I was a woman in her kitchen on a Sunday morning, watching 6 years rearrange themselves beneath. Father, I have something I need to tell, a story with no clean side, truth with a broken shell. I sat across the table from the man I chose, and now I know the weight of everything he hid. Father, I have something I need to say, but there are 2 confessions in the things I did. I drove to Tesco, parked, and turned the engine off. Sat with my hands in my lap for I don't know how long. A woman walked by pushing a trolley, laughing. On the phone the world was moving forward, mine was sideways wrong. I thought about the 6 years, the terrace mazes, rumor drawings on the fridge, the purple curtains that we'd argued over. I thought we chose this life with such specific care. How do you just fold it up and hand it to another? I called Rachel, left a message, didn't say the details. I just said I needed air, I'd come by later. And then I sat another 20 minutes in the Tesco car park, watching people choose between the skimmed and semi-skimmed. There is something clarifying about the ordinary, about the world insisting on continuing regardless. You can be dissolving and the lights are still all green. The pigeon still finds crumbs, the afternoon still darkens. Father, here is where I need to choose my words, because at Rachel's later Marcus was there again. And I'd like to tell you I left early, said goodnight, drove home to the terrace, to the quiet, to the man and his refrain. But I sat beside him on the sofa and I talked until 11. And something in the honesty of finally saying everything made the room feel warm in a way I had forgotten. And I drove home very slowly, holding what that meant. Father, I have something I need to tell. The story cracked apart and I went through the shell. I sat across the table from the man I chose and said I need some time, and pulled on my coat and my gloves. Father, I have something I need to say, and God help me, I think I said it anyway. The kettle on the counter, the confirmation on the table, York for 2 nights, her name in the footer. I pulled my coat, I drove away. I'm not the only one with something yet to say. Father, I have told you most of it, the receipt, the name, the parking charge in Salford, the hotel in his email. I told you how I sat in my car outside the Tesco, and how the world kept moving through the cold and wet and pale. But I have held back something from the very first word I spoke, and that is why I'm here on a Thursday in the spring, because a woman who came only with her husband's guilt does not need absolution. Father, she needs nothing. I want you to know I did not plan it, did not seek it. I was not looking for a door to walk myself through. But grief has its own gravity, and loneliness is texture, and Marcus was a gentleness I could not walk into. It was 4 times, maybe 5, it lasted through December. Coffee and then evenings that ran long. I told myself I was allowed, I told myself he'd broken us first. I told myself 100 things that didn't make me strong. Father, I rehearsed this coming in a dozen different orders. I tried to make myself the victim who then slipped. But that's a story with a shape that flatters someone's ego. And I am kneeling here precisely because I've let that slip. Father, I have something I need to tell. A story with no clean side, truth with a broken shell. I sat across the table from the man I chose, and smiled and passed the salt, and carried my own ghost. Father, I have something I need to say. I am not only here for what he did to me. I ended it in January after Christmas, a text that was too short for what it needed to contain. Marcus didn't argue, he said thank you for being honest, and that politeness was its own particular pain. I went home and I cooked the dinner, and I helped with Maisie's reading, and Daniel thanked me for a meal I barely tasted. We are trying now, the counselor says that's meaningful, but I sit in sessions watching words fall into spaces. This is the part where I would like a clean directive, a penance measured out in something I can carry. Say 10 Hail Marys, give some money to the food bank. Tell me there's a ceiling where the weight gets ordinary, but I don't think that's how it works for women in my position. I am the wrong wife and the one who was unfaithful both, and every time I reach for one identity to anchor, the other one is standing just behind it in my coat. I think about the night I found the parking notification, and how I felt that terrible cold clarity alone. I want someone to have felt that standing in my kitchen. I want the scales to balance in a way they cannot own. But Marcus looked at me the way that Daniel had forgotten, and I walked to warmth the way that Daniel walked toward Claire. And I am not more innocent for having been the first one broken. We are just 2 people who were careless with our care. Father, I have something I need to tell. The story is a circle, not a straight line to the bell. I sat across the table from the man I chose. We are still sitting there. We are choosing, I suppose. Father, I have said what I came here to say. I am the villain and the wounded on the same day. The terrace house is quiet now. Maisie's drawings on the fridge, the curtains that we argued over still. And I am learning how to live inside the knowledge that I cast no stone. I had my own to hold. Father, forgive us. We were cold.